Presentation of report from committee.
I recognize the Honorable Chairman of the Constitution and Foreign Affairs Committee.
Madam Speaker, I rise to lay on the table sessional paper number 194/1/12, a report from the Constitution and Foreign Affairs Committee of Belize Territorial Dispute Referendum Bill 2019, referred by the House of Representatives on the 12th of April 2019. In considering the matter referred to them, your committee held its meeting on the 12th of April 2019. Your committee considered the bill and has agreed that it be returned to the House for second reading without amendment. A copy of the minutes of the proceedings of the meeting held is attached and forms part of this report.
Honorable members, that report is ordered to lie on the table.
Public business, government business, bill for second reading.
I recognize the Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the second reading of a bill for an act to provide for a referendum to determine whether any legal claim of Guatemala against Belize relating to land and insular territories and to any maritime areas pertaining to these territories should be submitted to the International Court of Justice for final settlement and for the International Court of Justice to determine finally the boundaries of the respective territories and areas of Belize and Guatemala, and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Madam Speaker, how did we get here? A chronology of events, I think, would be useful in setting the stage for the debate. At the heart of the debate, central to the bill we have introduced, is the special agreement and the commitment thereunder for Belize and Guatemala to go to their peoples in referendums to determine whether, if there is a yes vote in both countries, we go to the ICJ for final resolution of the dispute. Now, we already know from what the Leader of the Opposition said publicly last night and what happened in committee, that the principal objection to this bill with which they will come revolves around Section 3. Section 3 is the section that makes clear that, in fact, this referendum being provided for by the bill is a referendum to enable electors to vote on whether the government of Belize should, in accordance with the special agreement and the protocol to the special agreement, request the International Court of Justice to determine, in accordance with applicable rules of international law, as specified in Article 38(1). And a great deal has been made of the fact on both sides that the special agreement limits the jurisdiction of the court, the International Court of Justice, to Article 38(1), which provides them from deciding on this matter on any basis other than the applicable norms of international law and the applicable treaties, including and principally the 1859 treaty, which is the treaty that enshrines our boundaries, which is the treaty that enshrines Belizean rights, and which is the treaty that makes us feel so confident that our case before the ICJ is unassailable. But my point is, Madam Speaker, that this Section 3 is absolutely central to the bill and makes clear that we are to go to a referendum as we agreed and as is required and as we are obliged to do under the special agreement. Now, there were two things that triggered the special agreement, that midwifed the special agreement, that brought it into being. One was the 2005 Confidence Building Measures Framework document. I think we'd had confidence building measures earlier in 2000 and 2002. But ultimately, there was a final confidence building measures framework document, if I recall correctly, agreed between Belize and Guatemala in 2005. That is the agreement that created the adjacency zone. That is the agreement that set up the special OAS office so that the OAS could act as honest brokers between Belize and Guatemala in the event of flashpoints, in the event of incidents occurring. An OAS office that would go if we don't have a referendum, and that would go if we had a referendum and voted no. But that's just in the context, Madam Speaker, of trying to say what the genesis of the special agreement was and how important and critical that special agreement is. In that 2005 Confidence Building Measures Framework document, there was an express provision that the parties would contemplate submitting their dispute to the ICJ. Now, this Confidence Building Framework document was negotiated and signed by the PUP as government in 2005 with the full cooperation and support of the then opposition UDP. You know, history will record every time they have done something that we thought was in the national interest, we fully and unreservedly supported them. When the shoe is on the other foot, and we are doing not just what is in the national interest, what they determined to be in the national interest, what they agreed to as reflecting the national interest. They do every single thing, they make every final effort to derail what is happening, to be obstructionist, and ultimately not just to delay the implementation of the special agreement by way of the referendum, but to deny the special agreement, to deny the referendum, to stop the people of Belize from exercising their vote. Shameful. You know, Madam Speaker, when it suits them, they say they're not trying to deny the referendum, they only want a postponement. But I am sure that I heard the member for Lake Independence say words to this effect. Well, you know, if we go to court, we could lose a portion of Belize, something to do half of PG, and so therefore the best thing is not to go to referendum at all, so that we foreclose on that possibility. Madam Speaker, the fact is they hopscotch all over the place. They hopscotch all over the place.
Madam Speaker.
It's a point of order there,
He has to correct the record, Madam Speaker. I did not say that. I did not say I'm against having a referendum. I said
that
I'm
is my
against going to the
interpretation of what
ICJ.
he said. Let me pursue.
You're much smarter
Let
man
me
than
proceed, Madam Speaker.
I heard.
So, Madam Speaker, the point is they hopscotch all over the place. And I am charging them centrally today with wanting not just to delay the referendum, but to deny the referendum. They want to achieve they want to achieve their no vote not by persuading people at the polls to vote no, but by depriving people of the opportunity to go to referendum, because that's the surest way to get to a no position. That is what they're trying to do. So, Madam Speaker, I was making the point. After the confidence building framework document was negotiated and signed by the PUP, there came the special agreement. It was premised on the provision in the confidence building measures and acceptance of the formal recommendation of the OAS Secretary General, which provided for referendums to be held in both Belize and Guatemala for the people to decide whether they would consent to go to the ICJ on the terms and conditions set out in the special agreement. Now, Madam Speaker, that special agreement has not changed since they negotiated it in any substance. And that special agreement was drafted and approved by the People's United Party and a battery of international legal experts, fully supported by the UDP, in discharge of our duty to act in concert with you when the national interest requires. But it was only formally signed, Madam Speaker, in 2008, after the UDP had become government. Having actually been negotiated by the PUP, that signature ceremony, which took place when the UDP was the government, was fully endorsed and participated in by them. In particular, in the person of one Senator Amon Harrison Courtney, who famously, according to file pictures that we saw, popped champagne and feasted on a celebratory gourmet meal at some snazzy Washington restaurant to celebrate the signing of the special agreement. We never hear anything then that anything wrong with the special agreement. We never hear anything wrong being claimed about the special agreement. But since that time, Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition's Svengali has resorted, on the instructions of his party, to every conceivable legal and political maneuver to wreck the agreement. The agreement that was, when they negotiated it, super good for Belize. And they told us a panacea. But what was such a glorious achievement designed to put an end to all our difficulties when they negotiated it, all of a sudden begins to spell disaster and devastation now that the UDP is seeking to implement it by giving the people their referendum. It is a Judas-like betrayal for the ages. I shudder at how history will judge them and at the rank order in which they're even now being held by Belizeans. The point is, though, Madam Speaker, there was always common ground that the special agreement was our way out of this suffocating, cancerous Guatemala claim, eating away at Belizean entrails and at our precious legacies, particularly at the Sarstoon and Chiquibull, providing, of course, that the people would agree to go to the referendum and support the special agreement. It was always agreed that the ICJ route was the best way out of our age-old difficulty. Depended on the people of Belize, always and forever the people of Belize. They have to be the ones to decide. But for God's sake, let them decide. Stop trying. Stop trying to derail the referendum. Now, Madam Speaker, that special agreement and the later protocol thereto was ratified by the Senate in 2016. As I understand it, it immediately thereby became a binding international agreement, a treaty, in other words, between Belize and Guatemala. So, what we are providing here today, what we are providing for here today, the holding of the referendum, apart from being necessary as a standalone feature to enable us to get to the solution of this dispute, is also a binding obligation that we assumed when we signed and ratified the special agreement and the protocol. And as I said, at the time the special agreement and protocol was ratified in the Senate, nobody suggested then that the ratification was in violation of the Constitution. Nobody suggested that, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, everybody is aware that this is a debate. You have your turn. Kindly proceed, Prime Minister.
Nobody suggested that in order for the special agreement to become binding, we needed to amend the Constitution. It is a foolish argument that I will tell you. They raised when they got their injunction, and it is one that the Chief Justice who gave them their injunction said was not even a serious enough issue to be tried. I'm stating what he said, sir. So, Madam Speaker, the fact is that this special agreement designed to give the people of Belize their say by way of a referendum became a binding international treaty, a binding treaty on this country. Now, Guatemala has complied with their obligation, and they have held their referendum in which their people said yes. We in Belize would not have held our referendum except Guatemala went first. We then fixed April 10th, 2019 for the holding of the Belize referendum. Thereafter, our referendum unit, co-headed by PUP Ambassador Stuart Leslie, who is now the leader of the opposition's chief of staff, went into high gear in the effort to educate the people and prepare them to make their all-important, fundamentally life-altering decision on April 10th. But a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. The opposition decided to abandon the very special agreement that they had touted as the answer to all our prayers. They began to nitpick and to fault find, to nickel and dime us to perdition, in order to do two things: to resile from their declared and formally yes position to the ICJ, and to do anything to get a no, even if to get that no, they had ultimately by any means necessary to try to stop the referendum from even happening. All notions of the national interest were cast to the winds. All glory that they used to claim for being the authors of the special agreement that was supposed to save us was flung out the window. Defenestrated, as Ms. Schumann likes to say. And why? Madam Speaker, all because of naked, bilious political opportunism. They saw a defeat or prevention of the yes vote as a way of bringing down the UDP, of getting back.
Honorable members and visitors in the gallery, the Prime Minister has the floor. Kindly proceed.
Of getting back to Belmopan Hill and reinstating their good old days of pillage and plunder. They saw it as a way of trying now to feed the starved maw of those dying from the enforced hunger of their inability to live off the public purse these 11 long years. They saw it as an opportunity of wetting their beaks, wetting the beaks and slaking the thirst of those parched by their deserved banishment to the political desert. And so the campaign began. A campaign in which, as I said, Madam Speaker, they would stop at nothing to delay and ultimately deny the people of Belize what even the international community, I saw that last night. No, man. That your deputy leader always give off songs against the international community. The international community, Madam Speaker, the EU, the UK, and the US have formally declared to be the inalienable democratic right of our citizens to vote in a special agreement referendum. Their campaign was given much life by the Supreme Court injunction that ultimately succeeded in cancelling our April 10th referendum. But you know what, Madam Speaker? I haven't taken any scientific poll, but I can tell you there has been a backlash from the people of Belize. There has been a backlash from the people of Belize who ultimately decry this frustration of their right to vote and the greedy, selfish, utterly despicable PUP calculus that caused that. Madam Speaker, we are here today to fix that. This bill is designed to ensure that the people of this country the people of this country will have their referendum.
I recognize the Right Honorable Opposition Leader. Just 1 second, Honorable. Those persons with cell phones, kindly turn off or take off the ringtone for your cell phones. Thank you very much. Kindly proceed, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister is spinning his hopes on getting a yes vote for the referendum simply because he believes that if you get a yes vote, that will allow them to win the next general elections. We have to keep that in mind. He accuses us, it is them that are desperate. But let me point out something to the Prime Minister. The people could vote yes or no or maybe so, but whenever we call the next election, they are going to be voted out by the people of this country.
I hope today is not the day that I have to clear the gallery. So you all decide. Kindly proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now the Prime Minister again uses the example that when we were in government, that they were cooperating with us. And that is true. But you know why that happened? Because we treated them with respect, Madam Speaker. We invited them to every single meeting we had in Belize, in Washington, in London, in Guatemala, all across the world, Madam Speaker. We had them along with us because we treated them with respect and believe that this decision is something that all the people of Belize must do united, Madam Speaker. That is the difference between the UDP government and the People's United Party government. But Madam Speaker,
You have the floor, Opposition Leader.
I know that the Prime Minister is getting advanced in age, so I will forgive his lapses in memory.
Sounds like an old.
But need I remind him? Remember the mea culpa Maritimes Irazak, your mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, what you said in the House? When you were supporting the PUP government with the Maritimes Irazak, and because his party was putting a lot of pressure on him, he then pulled back that support that he was giving. I know he dares talk about not changing his mind. Do I need to remind him about the facilitation process? I don't want to scandal him, and I won't go into the details. What he was blackmailing the PUP government for support for the facilitation process, Madam Speaker?
Excuse me, those are strong words. They are Opposition
No, but
Leader.
it's the truth, Madam Speaker.
Blackmail is a strong word. Blackmail is a strong word. Just proceed, but please.
It is the truth, but I will not go into the details. If the former Prime Minister wants to go into the details, who knows all of the details, then he may proceed. But I will stop there, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
And now, I mean, you could see desperation. Desperation, Madam Speaker, today. When the Prime Minister is going to use this press release from the...
Opposition Leader, just 1 minute. I cannot proceed if we don't have order in the House. We've just begun the debate. Kindly proceed.
When the Prime Minister will want to again hang on to a release from the EU, the British High Commission and the US Embassy. No. The British is trying to advise us about holding a referendum. The British. And they have something called Brexit that has, after the referendum, has gone to the Parliament, I think at least 3 times, and they can't get it through because they did not plan properly, Madam Speaker. We are doing a favor to the government, Madam Speaker. We are helping them because we want to avoid a Brexit situation. That is why we've been saying, bring the special agreement to this House for us to have a full debate. Because once it is accepted by Parliament, then we can't pull back, Madam Speaker. But if we go to the ICJ, and for some reason the ICJ decides that we have to amend our boundaries, God forbid for that to ever happen, which member of Parliament here in this House will get up and agree to take off any piece of land from Belize, Madam Speaker. We in the People's United Party Madam Speaker, have been very, very clear that we are going to defend every single square centimeter of this country. Madam Speaker, and I need to make another point, because Senator Courtney is not here to defend himself, but he will be here next week, Monday, when he has been saying
Honorable members,
my body have to come better than that.
Just a minute. Excuse me, please. Honorable member, I have to proceed. We cannot proceed in this manner. Please, kindly take the floor, opposition leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When the Prime Minister is saying that this has gone to the Senate, where it was approved as a treaty, and that it was agreed and nobody said anything about it, or supposedly there was no objections. Madam Speaker, the 3 PUP senators objected for it to be approved because they felt that it needs to come to the House first. Even the NGOs, the social partners, senators voted against the special agreement in the Senate. You know who saved the government, Madam Speaker? Pastor Rock. He's the only one that voted with the side of the government. And that is why that was approved, or else it would have been rejected and it had to come to this House. Since 2008, Senator Courtney has been on record that he believes that this agreement, the special agreement.
I wonder if we'll make it through this day, because we need to move along and we have a lot of disruptions. Can we kindly settle down? Go ahead, opposition leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah, since 2008, Madam Speaker, Senator Courtney has been saying that the special agreement needs to come to the House for it to be fully debated and ventilated, and then for approval on to the Senate. And we have been saying that consistently, Madam Speaker. That has not changed. So I don't know why is it that the Prime Minister or any member from the other side would be surprised when we felt that we had to take legal action. We had to take legal action because they don't listen. When I say about Hardy speak me, we got to mark it twice. Well, then they lose twice, one after the other in court last week. But, Madam Speaker, once again, we come to the National Assembly to debate a bill that we got less than 24 hours ago. A bill that the government is insisting in pushing it through its R3 stages in one sitting. As I said earlier, we place our strongest objection to this. This could be one of the most important pieces of legislation that this government is presenting today, Madam Speaker, and they are proposing to just ram it through the House today. There is no time for serious debate. No time for us on this side of the House, Madam Speaker, to do a proper research on the bill. No time for the NGO community, for our social partners, for the business community, other small political parties, ordinary citizens, to be able to go to the House Committee to ask questions for clarification or to make suggestions on how we can make this bill better. No time, Madam Speaker, for us to come to this honorable House and have a serious debate on a bill that can potentially, listen to me, potentially determine the future of our country. Yet the government is already started, and we heard the Prime Minister earlier, wants to accuse us on the other side, on this side of the House, that we want to stop the referendum. Let me be clear. Me, John Brisenio, the representative for Arinjoak Central, the son of a humble school teacher, Madam Speaker, and the honorable member from Arinjoak East knows because he knew my mother. My mother and his mother, they were like sisters. So he knows that. I, Madam Speaker, will never surrender my principles for political expediency, Madam Speaker. I stand by my principles, and I stand by what I believe.
Honorable members, according to your standing orders, we really need to maintain silence while a member is at the podium. Kindly refer to your standing orders.
I stand by my principles, and I stand for what I believe, what I truly believe. I believe with all my heart, Madam Speaker, that finding a peaceful settlement.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker, I have been sitting here, Madam Speaker, and you have been very lenient, Madam Speaker, in asking that we adhere to the standing orders, Madam Speaker. The standing orders are very clear that when a member has the floor, Madam Speaker, that we have to listen. Please.
Hello. Honorable members, I have said before we need to move on. And I agree with the member. We should pay attention to our standing order. Please allow the opposition leader to make his presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I sincerely believe in my heart, Madam Speaker, that we need to do everything possible to find a peaceful settlement, a lasting solution to the unfounded claim that Guatemala has over Belize. But I stand by that, Madam Speaker. But I am deeply disappointed that such a matter of national importance, something that we should be united as a country, as a nation, as a government and party, Madam Speaker, that has caused us to come to this honorable House as a divided nation. We in the People's United Party, we are the party that fought for adult suffrage. We reduced the voting age, Madam Speaker, from 21 to 18. We fought and won, despite many members from that other side We won independence for the people of Belize, Madam Speaker. And we were the ones that introduced a law to hold a referendum. That's the deepest form of democracy that we can have in our country, where we're giving the people an opportunity to decide issues of national importance, Madam Speaker. That is our record. So for them to even attempt to try to say that we want to stop a referendum is nothing further from the truth, Madam Speaker. We want a referendum. We respect the right of the people to make that decision, Madam Speaker, but we have to get it right. They don't listen. Then just hurry. Just look last week. They gone with an ironclad case and they lost at the Supreme Court. Even the Prime Minister said that a feather could have been almost knocked down. Well, the following week, this week, the feather knocked down when they lost again in this House of Appeal, Madam Speaker. I know they want to accuse us of wanting to stop the referendum. We want to ensure that you get it right because, gentlemen, ladies, if you don't get it right, and after the referendum, somebody is going to take us to court, and who knows, we may have to do the referendum all over again. We are doing you a favor, Mr. Prime Minister. Work with us. Let us get it correct. No. No, Madam Speaker. Let's look at this proposed bill. That we just got yesterday. Madam Speaker, when we looked at it as a group, as parliamentarians, and we had our legal advisors with us, and there are a number of issues that we have with this bill. When we look at section 5(1), the Governor General shall, within 5 days, of receiving a request under section 4, when the Prime Minister sends a request to the Governor General, to issue a writ of referendum to the returning officer of the electoral divisions of Belize. Then he gave the poor Governor General 5 days, to have to hurry write this writ. The last time, I think he sent the writ sometime in January, and then the Governor General issued the writ in March. That was about what, 30, 40, 45 days? And in 45 days, the Governor General get it wrong. What do you think with 5 days? If you get it wrong in 45 days, you think I'll get it right in 5 days? Why would you hurry? Why can't we give the Governor General enough time for him to get proper legal advice before he or she issues the writ? And then, when you look at section 5(4), they say, he only got 5 days to write the letter, and to agree to the writ. And then he's saying, under this law, or this proposed bill, that then the Governor General must give a minimum of 10 days. So theoretically, the Prime Minister can call a referendum in 15 days. This is obscene, Madam Speaker. 15 days, theoretically. You hear what I say? You know what theoretically means? I could get you a dictionary. I could have Mr. Google to explain to you what theoretically means. So, just relax yourself. Relax yourself, man. 15 days. What is the undue? Why such a haste, Madam Speaker? Call the general elections, you see if people are ready. And this time we're not a bluff. We're not a bluff. Call the election. We also have some concerns, Madam Speaker. Mira, take care of you. And Mira, a real soldier, now you the try-play soldier.
Honorable Opposition Leader, kindly stay with your thing because you just want to start a whole different trajectory. Yes. You proceed and we'll be there.
Could you ask them?
Honorable Minister, can you kindly give the Opposition Leader an opportunity to present?
Well, if you answer, if you tell me to have to
I know.
answer, man.
You need to. I just said that by responding, you're inviting other things to happen. Don't do that.
You know what, the accusations they give on me, Madam Speaker? That I'm a really nice guy, you know, that I am patient. But
Opposition Leader, I mean, you made everybody smile. Kindly proceed.
when you deal with hard perspective, Madam Speaker, you run out of patience, man. But on a serious note, Madam Speaker, when we look at Section 9, you know, where it says that the referendum shall be conducted in accordance with all provisions of the Representations of the People Act and regulations made under that act, Madam Speaker. Well, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not an attorney. So I go by what the advice that our legal advisors or our lawyers are telling us. The truth is that the Representation of the People's Act, or referred to as ROPA, is woefully inadequate, you know, set up to be able to hold a standalone referendum. And that is the truth. The ROPA, or the Representations of the People Act, never envisioned to hold just a referendum. It is, if it happens, it is when we have another election, be it like, we have municipal elections, when we did it with Belmopan, when we wanted to make Belmopan a city. Man, allow me now. Then you could try and answer me afterwards, man. But then just shut up and leave it, man. Then we could finish, man. And then, the other one is that we had in 2008, when the very Prime Minister who is touting of having the people make a decision, when we had asked the people to, if they want to have an elected Senate, and the majority said yes, he decided that he's not going to take it because it was less than 50%. Remember that? And then he changed the law that you have to be 60. And if I know that, you know, I get no 60% people participating, so now he said just one regular majority. So 5,000 people could come and vote and make the decision. But that's another argument, Madam Speaker.
I agree.
The point is,
Different argument. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, member.
the point I'm trying to make, Madam Speaker, our commissioners on the Elections and Boundaries Commission, Senior Counsel, Magali Marin-Young, everybody knows that she's among the best lawyers we have in the country. You realize that most of the best lawyers are our PUP lawyers, you know. You realize that? Anyway, Senior Counsel will beat you 2 times. They beat you 2 times on them last week. Anyway. You are a good liar, Prime Minister. I'll give you that. You've just been on a losing streak, but that's okay. Be the castaway. But you're a much better liar than I am, sir. Yes, Madam Speaker, Senior Counsel Magali Marin Young and Mr. Orlando Espat, our 2 commissioners, they have been pointing this out to the elections.
Honorable Minister, can we get a break here, please? Thank you. Continue, Leader.
Yes, Madam Speaker. 2 of our commissioners have been pointing this over and over to the Elections and Boundaries Commission. It went to the point, Madam Speaker, that the chairman of the Elections and Boundaries Commission and the chief elections officer promised the commission that they were going to get a legal opinion whether this is so or not. And as far as our commissioners are concerned, that legal opinion either was never done or they never showed it to our commissioners. So I'm basing on the recommendations from our commissioners that are saying that for us to have this piece of legislation to be supervised under the Representation of People Act, we need to make some amendments to that act, Madam Speaker. But the section, that's why I fix it. The section that is of most concern for us, Madam Speaker, is Section 3. Section 3 reads out that a referendum shall be held to enable electors to vote on whether the government of Belize should, in accordance with the special agreement and the protocols of the special agreement, to request the International Court of Justice to determine, etc., etc., etc. The concern that we have, Madam Speaker, with this piece of legislation is that we were coming here fully ready to support the holding of the referendum if it was done under the previous referendum. If you'd have called the referendum if the referendum would have been called under the correct section, Section 2(1)(a), which is to come to the House to say that we have an issue of national importance, and then we have the debate over the referendum. We had already agreed on Wednesday, as a parliament, as a caucus, that we were going to support that section, Madam Speaker, if the Prime Minister would have come to correct what the Chief Justice told him to fix. We were going to support it. But lo and behold, the Prime Minister then comes less than 24 hours later, the following day, and gives us a new bill that changes the entire rules of the game. How can now you expect us to just come right here and say yes to something that we know is wrong, Madam Speaker? Now,
members of the gallery, kindly remain quiet.
Why is it that we have an issue with Section 3? Well, Madam Speaker, because Section 3, what the Prime Minister and his government, they are attempting to do, they are trying to find like a backdoor channel, trying to sneak in the special agreement into the House, here in the House, so that if we were to agree to this legislation, because they knew that we are going to support the holding of a referendum, they knew that we are going to support the holding of the referendum under the first act, so then try to sneak it, the special agreement, into the House, so that we don't debate the special agreement. So that if later on, any citizen of this country would want to challenge that in court, he will turn around and say, but Parliament has approved it. Not just a minority, not just a simple majority, but you can get more than 2/3 of the House supporting it. You see when they try to sneak this into it, Madam Speaker? But we have good lawyers advising us. And they're telling us this is dangerous for us to accept it the way they have worded it. Because it goes down to the fundamental issue that we have saying, that under the special agreement, that we are in effect giving powers to a foreign court to determine the boundaries of our country. And for that to happen, the Parliament, the House, needs to vote at least 2/3 majority so that we can pass over that powers, Madam Speaker, to the ICJ via the referendum. Because in effect, we are going to be telling the Belizean people, if you say yes, it is going to be fine by us.
Speaker, could I just, in accordance with Standing Order 12.8, move that the proceedings on the order paper be entered upon and proceeded with at this day's sitting at any hour opposed?
Honorable members, the question is that the proceedings on the order paper be entered upon and proceeded with at this day's sitting at any hour, though opposed. All those in favor, kindly say aye. With those against, kindly say no. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So, we have all along been saying that before we can do that with the referendum, and to avoid a Brexit situation, we believe that the special agreement needs to come to the House for it to be properly ventilated, properly debated, and that the government can clear up any questions or that we may have, concerns, and then that we can have at least a 2/3 majority accepting that to go forward, Madam Speaker. And that is why I'm saying that we have a problem in supporting Section 3. And I just want to advise the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, somebody, you don't have to be the PUP, you could be anybody, may decide to challenge this section because they think that it is unconstitutional, Madam Speaker. You see, the entire UDP campaign has been premised on one thing, not about what is it that we're going to do when we go to the ICJ, but simply they are trying to turn this into a political discourse. Their premise is that they are accusing us, want to accuse the PUP of saying that we want to stop the referendum and that we don't want the Belizean people to decide. That is simply not true. We want the people to decide. There's nothing like the power of the Belizean people, Madam Speaker, but we have to get it right. It is this government that created the crisis, you know. It's not us. They created this crisis. It is their disrespect, stubbornness, arrogance, their hubris.
The gallery needs to be careful. I'm asking the police to pay attention because we're having a lot of interruptions and cannot continue. Kindly proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And they are hubris that has forced them to come to this House today. If our members, our heroes, our members of the House and Anthony Marla did not take this to the court, we would not have been here discussing this very same thing, Madam Speaker. Thanks to the PUP, we are keeping democracy alive, not them. It is their arrogance and their stubbornness refusing to work with us in the opposition. When we've been saying it over and over, we want to work with you. We want to help you. We have the best minds in the country, Madam Speaker. Again, just look at the record, Madam Speaker. Just look at it. We got this bill 24 hours ago. They want to ram it through the 3 stages in one sitting. The government refuses to listen to any suggestions or amendments that we in the opposition would want to make. Our party has clearly articulated, Madam Speaker, and I hope you get a copy, and if you didn't, I will make sure that you get a copy. The People's Declaration, Madam Speaker, where we clearly articulated what our concerns about holding the referendum. We mentioned, and I'm not going to go through everything, Madam Speaker, but we said it is important for us to have a balanced education campaign. A campaign that not only speaks to the yes, but it also speaks to the no. That you know that there are litigation risks, and what would happen with those litigation risks. We have been saying, Madam Speaker, that we need to amend the Maritime Areas Act. The same act that you, Mr. Prime Minister, voted against. Why are you protecting the Maritime Areas Act? Why can't you amend it? We are no longer negotiating with Guatemala. You said that now we have to go to court. So that means now we need to finish running our maritime boundary all the way to the Sarstoon. Why don't they want to do that, Madam Speaker? Well, let's not even talk about vital statistics. Under the re-registration, we have at least 3,000 Belizeans that were on the list and can't get on the list right now, Madam Speaker. We are disenfranchising these Belizeans. And the government makes no attempt or no effort to ensure that these people get on the list. You know why? Because they suspect that the majority of these people are supporters of the People's United Party, Madam Speaker. And we can fix it. I could give you some simple ways how to fix it. The first thing we could do, we could accept that they use the Social Security card.
I'm sorry. We have to have your card in.
Sorry, on a point of order, are we here to debate his demands in his People's Declaration?
Madam Speaker, this is relevant to the
but don't read
relevant.
It. Just deal with the issues.
Referendum.
Honorable, just
Because
deal with
we
issues,
said,
but don't read from the paper.
Madam
Please
Speaker, do you want me to just close my eyes to over 3,000 Belizeans that are not on the list?
I don't want you to
Madam
close your
Speaker.
eyes to anything. I'm just asking you. I just made one request. Kindly don't read from the paper. Just kindly.
But I'm not
create
reading,
issues.
Madam Speaker.
Okay.
I'm not reading at all.
Okay. That's fine. Go ahead,
The point is that we have over 3,000 people. The Prime Minister's division, Queen Square, have about 1,300. Mesopotamia have about 1,300. Combined, they don't make the 3,000 that can get on the list. But yet, the 2,000 people that got their nationality illegal. Remember that nationality scandal? Yes, over 2,000. They got it illegal, then got back into that voters list. But Belizeans that were born here can't get on the list. And if you want, I could read out the names, Madam Speaker, but I'm not sure if you want me to read out the names.
No, absolutely not. No.
I have them. Madam Speaker.
Absolutely no names. Kindly proceed, Honorable Member. Not allowed.
Because you know that are true. There are people can't get on the list. So there are certain things, Madam Speaker, that our party, after I did, Madam Speaker, consultations in all 31 constituencies, these are the concerns that Belizeans are telling us about. We may invite Mesopotamia. Yes, we did. You are in your fancy house, in that side, Freetown, no? You're in your fancy house in Freetown. You are not walking the streets of Mesopotamia. Madam Speaker, simple things, Madam Speaker, that we've been asking. For instance, I have asked the Financial Secretary for a report on how much monies have been spent. The government is crying that they spend millions of dollars. Well, how much have been spent, Madam Speaker? How much have they spent on this campaign? Where did the money come from? I know taxpayers, but did we get it from foreign entities? Are there strings attached when we take them foreign entities' money for holding a referendum? We don't know. Who are the people benefiting from this largesse? How much has Ambassador Assad Schuman's NGO collected? How much have we paid Ambassador Lisa Schuman? How much has Colorblind collected? Who are Colorblind? You know, there are so many questions, Madam Speaker, yet they refuse to give us the order. You could call Jaime, he could tell you. Lay it out, Madam Speaker, lay it out, member from Port Loyola. Put it down on the front. Put it all on the table. I want you to give it us.
Honorable Opposition
I want us
Leader.
to see how much money on it is spent.
It seems to me you're giving the member the floor, and I gave you the floor. So kindly proceed.
But they don't continue throttling.
Kindly proceed.
Could you ask them to?
Honorable member, please give us a break here. But don't be yielding the floor because I'm right here. Just kindly proceed.
Then they tell me. Madam Speaker, the People's United Party has a rich democratic history. As I said, we fought for adult suffrage. We reduced the voting rate from 21 to 18. We fought for the independence. And we have given the people the right to hold a referendum. As George Price, the father of this nation, said, Madam Speaker, our mind imbues the democratic process, Madam Speaker. That is what we live for, Madam Speaker. So we on this side, we will always stand on the side of the Belizean people, Madam Speaker. We have a legal and a moral responsibility to all Belizeans, Madam Speaker, to ensure that we get it right. And this bill, the way it is written, the way it is worded, will not allow us to get it right, Madam Speaker. We cannot support this bill. Thank you.
Honourable Member from Lake Independence.
Madam Speaker, I wondered whether I was in an Asian parliament. The only thing that was left to happen was some blows being thrown across the floor.
I beg to differ, member. I didn't see that level of operation in the.
You heard it though?
I didn't see it.
Madam Speaker, they say the curse of the highly educated and the highly intelligent and the highly successful is the curse of certainty. They know everything. And when you listen to the Prime Minister, he knows everything. He is cocksure about everything. It is that same, if you listen to him, he is cocksure that we will carry the day if we ever reach the ICJ. But we've heard this same bravado before. We heard it when they nationalized BTL. You all remember that? He told the nation time and time again that we were going to beat Mr. Ashcroft, that we had a winning case, and every single case or arbitration we contested outside of this country, we lost. We lost. And after, but he doesn't lose. It's the people of Belize who lost. Because we ended up paying $600 million for a company that is valued at $100+ million. Just because of his hubris and his bravado, we ended up paying all that money. We heard this same. You're
getting a lot of competition from the gallery. Kindly.
I know.
Go ahead.
Madam Speaker, we heard the same bravado and complacency before the Supreme Court case, before the Chief Justice. We heard it before the Court of Appeals case. And what happened? What happened? We lost. The government of Belize lost. But if you listen to him, they always are going to win. They cannot lose. It's the same lies they are telling the people of Belize that if we go to the ICJ, we cannot lose. I never said, and the Prime Minister knows damn well, I never said I am against a referendum. I said going to the ICJ is just too way risky. We have everything to lose and nothing to gain. And Guatemala has everything to gain and nothing to lose. And I am not... And I'm sorry, but the Prime Minister cannot give me any assurances about any case outside the borders of Belize. You see, Madam Speaker, it is not laws that dispense justice. It is human beings. It is people. And when you go to court, you cannot be sure what will happen. You will win some and you will lose some. The problem we have is that if we go to the ICJ, where we want to outsource our power, if we go to the ICJ and they get it wrong, we cannot appeal. Their judgment will be final and binding, and that's the danger herein. But they don't want to admit that, Madam Speaker. They want to pretend as if we go there, it's ironclad. There is no such thing as any ironclad case. If you have an ironclad case, you would never reach court because nobody will challenge you. Nobody will challenge you. That is the problem we have. And on the matter of the special agreement, Madam Speaker, let me say this, because I thought I had explained this before. Under the laws of Belize, the people of Belize have veto over any final proposed settlement with Guatemala. The people of Belize will get to say yea or nay if we stick to the laws of Belize. Under the special agreement, we are outsourcing that power to 15 foreign judges that don't know us from Adam. 15 foreign judges. And we are saying to them that it's quite okay, that we will live with whatever you decide on this dispute with Guatemala. That's a lot of power we are outsourcing to the ICJ judges. Because under the special agreement, first of all, they will look at any and all legal claims from Guatemala. The people in The Hague told our media people that this is unprecedented. No country goes to the ICJ without knowing what the other country is claiming. We just hear that now. We just hear that now. We just hear that now. So, Madam Speaker, we're outsourcing that power to them to look at the claim. We're also outsourcing to them the power to determine our borders. The power to determine our borders. Our borders are etched in the Constitution of this country. So if that is not proposing to change the Constitution, I don't know what is. We are giving them that power. We are also going to outsource the power to them to determine rights of each country. Now, that part of the special agreement is not in the question that will be put to the referendum now. It's not at all. The part about rights. You know what the rights, Madam Speaker? Because maybe Belize people don't know what the rights, right? Because we haven't really heard that for a long time. But I'll say this, and I'll refer to my notes, Madam Speaker, because I want to get it right. Over the last 50 years, whenever there has been a proposed settlement with Guatemala, dating back to the Webster proposals in 1968 and the Heads of Agreement in 1981, all those proposals involved giving Guatemala something. That was always the proposal. It was always about giving them something. And in those particular proposals, the Webster proposals and the Heads of Agreement, it involved giving them rights. You know what kind of rights, Madam Speaker? The rights to free use of our ports without any duties and taxes being charged. The rights to duty-free air at the Belize City port and at the Commerce Bight port. The free movement of peoples between countries. They don't have to come with no passport, just show only ID and come right across. The right to free movement of vehicles. The right to participate in our defense and our foreign affairs. The right to the use and enjoyment of our seas. The right to the use and enjoyment of Ranguana and Sapodilla Keys. And rights to those areas adjacent to the Keys. The right to construct oil pipelines in our countries. The sharing of mineral rights. We are giving that power to the ICJ to determine rights. But it's not in the question that will place in front of the people whenever we go to the referendum. And that's an ominous omission. But I'll come back to this, Madam Speaker. I want to say something, right? Because when we went to court, and my colleagues as fellow claimants went to court, and we were successful for on behalf of the people of Belize, the Honorable Prime Minister was beside himself. The verdict could not have been announced quick enough for him to go and have a press conference. And the man gone off, unbecoming of a leader, gone off, rail up, cuss out the Chief Justice. Then things are wrong. Then things are wrong, Madam Speaker. It's wrong, right? He's the first defendant in the case in front of the Chief Justice. He pays the salary of the Chief Justice. He's endangering the life of the Chief Justice when he attacks the Chief Justice like that. You have to be more responsible, man. I have to learn how to take defeat, man. I know you don't lose long time, but you'll have to learn how to take defeat. I'll contrast that with our leader, Madam Speaker. When we came out of the House, when we came out of the court, our leader could have gloated on the camera. But you know what he did spontaneously? He offered a hand to the Prime Minister. He said, make we press the pause button and make we get together and discuss this thing and try to have a bipartisan approach to this thing. That's true leadership, sir. Because if we party leader, in a yes, you know. In a yes. And he knows majority of his members are no. So you know what he did? You know what he did? Madam Speaker, well, we have to tolerate and simple is every time we come. Man, they aren't getting a chance to talk, man. Right? You know what he did? You know, beat we over our head. You know what he did? He traveled all over this country on a listening tour, all 31 divisions, went to meet with the rank and file of our party and got his marching orders.
Members of the gallery, please cease and desist with the noise and interruptions.
Got his marching orders. That leadership. In this country, this issue to divide every single organization. Every single one. The church members, they have a different view. The union members, they have a different view. Civil society have a different view. In families, they have a different view. Brother believe one thing, sister believe the next thing, brother believe one thing, cousin believe the next thing. There's lots of disagreements. The only organization in this country that is monolithic on this issue is the United Democratic Party. Now, publicly, all of them are yes, but privately, some of them are no. But you know why, Madam Speaker? You know why? Because they're afraid for the big bad wolf. Afraid for the big bad wolf. Because he holds the keys to the power of their lives. So that's why nobody on that side they ever have anything to say but all the corruption in the government. From Gaspar Vega. What do you mean again?
Kindly stay with the debate. Thank you very much.
Right. Nobody over there, they only have conscience when it comes to Fui side, you know. But when it comes to Fidel side, they see no evil, hear no evil. They are done with whatever. Fui party different from that, brother. Right? We got a situation where the former Prime Minister will get up and have a contrary position to Fui party. And Fui party leader, no show our bad face, no say one negativity. In fact, when we meet and link up, the peace and love. We have a lady senator, we're unelected. And she have a different position. She have a different position from we.
Honorable Minister, kindly allow the member to proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You are being so kind. You want to get your turn, member for Belmopan. Just be patient. Just be patient. Right? We have the lady senator. The lady senator, she's publicly said she's a yes. Even though the party said a no. And nobody not punish she for that. Nobody not punish she for that. We quarrel. We disagree. we disagree. We got robust debate. But this party, that one big tent. This, that one big church. Nobody here no have to toe the line. Everybody over there have to genuflect and kneel down and kiss the big man toe. That's how they go on over there. I'm afraid for the big stick, I tell you that. Madam Speaker, the question we ask ourselves, because when the Chief Justice gave his judgment, Prime Minister said he was flabbergasted. He said, one federal could have been knocked over. He said, but April 10th, we began a referendum. They gone to the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals said, hold on, Buster, you can't go out on April 10th. Hold on. Man up in arms. The question, hold on, you can't expedite your appeal, you ask for something where we don't grant. So you have to wait. The question we ask for ourselves that why they rush? Why they haste? Because the people want to talk to. Me and your friend, where's yourself member for Port Laiwala? Where's yourself? The people when they talk to, parrot the propaganda line to them. Say, oh, we only hurt it because PUP deny we the right to voting at this referendum. The people that I talk to, we're confused about this issue. We're stressed about this issue. We never know what to do about this issue. They were relieved that this thing was put off. But the man insists that we have to have this thing now. The Chief Justice gave this country an opportunity to take a little chill pill and try to figure out this thing and get it right. How you go and rush for a referendum when all of we people, the ordinary people, the ball that they don't understand what is going on with the issue? That even though you spend millions of dollars, you got billboards in every open space. You got all kind of high-paid actors and some lower-paid actors that endorse this position. The referendum unit get expanded and you bring every single ambassador from you don't know where all to come talk on this issue. And the people still confused about the issue, still not sure what to do. Yes, the people they want to vote, but this is one vote they are not confident about. I have never seen this level of stress in the electorate about one issue. And we have an opportunity to chill and take it easy and try to figure it out. We have an opportunity to go to the people and go and lead balanced campaign. And get some people could break it down for their cause. And all of the people who talk on this issue, they talk over the people's head. Like for looting. Because like I tell you now, the highly educated and the highly intelligent and the highly successful, they have a curse. For their curses that they know everything. And then the people who don't know is simple. They don't know better. They're too emotional. Brother, they're not for we people and it's a for we country and we try to get it right. So how we are rush go to referendum? Man, 2,500 people, some people said 3,000, some people said 2,000. They get disenfranchised. They get left off of the list, ban Belizeans. Because when they go to Vital Stats, so you rat it, the page, you hear they can't find the page or the page tear up with their birth records. And we think like it's okay if we just go to referendum with that. Brother, you know, a modern democracy, voting now a right and now a privilege. If you don't ban Belizean and you over 18, you're supposed to automatically register and go vote. But we make it such that re-registration become a punitive exercise as opposed to a rectification process. How we going to referendum and all of the people can't vote? That craziness, man. Now what are the problem? Why would they rush? Why would they rush? Because Guatemala the pressure away? Because Jimmy Carter said, we don't have to get this thing quick before elections because I'm soon not there. What are the real? Because everything where Guatemala want, Guatemala get. Guatemala want to change the date how much time? 2 times? And we agree? They agree that they bet, they said that they want to change, they want to go up on their own. They don't want to wait for we. And we agree. They said they want we get rid of the threshold in a referendum act. And they said that, you know. And we comply. Everything what they want, we comply. So how we can't tell them, brother, just hold it down. We go in a referendum when the people good and ready. Precisely. Everything what they want, they get. And we are saying, hold it down, man. How we can say that to Guatemala? For no constituents, the Belizeans, you know. No Guatemalans. The Belizeans, you know, have for account to. I think we are an independent country, you know. I mean, the start has some doubts recently. And then yesterday only confirmed to me when the three big boys sent out on release one joint statement. I can't believe the Prime Minister can use that as one plum for him. That's one negative, brother. Them man just don't make the whole world know that they can meddle in the independent Belize affairs how they want, when they want. Why is that? Because we take them money, brother. And once you take their money, they will tell you what to do. You understand? And we never had to take their money. This is our $1.2 billion budget. We're not supposed to have to beg for no money. We're supposed to pay for our own education campaign with our independent country. I hear this talking about the international community and vex it with. But why we can't go? Now vex if the people vote no. Why we can't go to our friends that carry come, to our friends in the African and Pacific nations, to our friends in the Commonwealth and tell them, during the course of our democratic tradition and process, the people chose to vote no. What is wrong with that? If them people have we friend, they will have to understand that. But the problem what we have is that because this government take them people money and promise that they will deliver the people to ICJ. They never say the people have the choice. They say they will deliver the people. That's totally different from the George Price way, Madam Speaker. Because in a George Price time, he had to listen to all kind of ridiculous proposals. All kind, but you know what we used to always tell them? People are Belize on the side. The people are Belize on the side. The people are Belize one got the freedom for the side. Of course, make them vote. You know what pissed me off about a joint release there?
Language.
You know what makes me angry? You know what enrages me about the joint statement?
Thank you.
That's good enough? You know what enrages me, Madam Speaker? They have a little line in there, and I quote. It said, a referendum puts the decision in the hands of the people of Belize who would participate in a free and democratic process. Then people that are Columbus, you know, we know this already. We don't have a free country. We don't have a democratic country. Free people are participate in a free and fair elections, in a free and fair referendum. You don't have to come tell we that. The problem is that if we were so free, and we were so fair, and we were so democratic, and we were so independent, then they may have no need to come tell we no foolishness. They may have no need to come interfere in the affairs of this country. The referendum vote that will matter for the people of Belize, not for nobody else. So all I want to say, man, allow the process for work. Make the legal process work. Not try to bully away, man. Respect the processes. We're supposed to do it in a good time when the people are ready to do it. Although this government, they rush it, and if they have their way, I don't know when we'll have it, probably in a couple of weeks. But they're wrong, man. They're wrong. Then you have the Guatemalan president on the other side, the tantalized way. He like take we for publisher, you know. Huh? Now come, that explains. He goes with a young student, and he, real club. But he's not president, you know. All right. Shared things happen in Guatemala, never forget that. He goes with a young student and helps the student to draw a map of Guatemala. And then he then includes a map of Belize in that map. And you know what he tells the media, the Guatemalan media over there, Madam Speaker? He said, they're not a claim, contrary to what some people think, they're not a claim half of Belize, from the Cebu to the Sarsoon. Then they claim the entire country, from the Hondo to the Sarsoon. No, you guys have never said that to the Belizean people. You never say the man that they claim the whole country. Because if you don't know that, then you should make sure that they put that in a special agreement. But you know, hide behind the language any and all legal claims. You understand? On no hide. But that is the whole idea, member, that is the whole idea, Madam Speaker, that is the whole idea why we are saying, to bring the special agreement to the House of Representatives. Not because we want to give no fancy speech or we want to hear ourselves, but because in a mature democracies, when a matter comes to the House for debate, it's supposed to result in our amended, in our altered, in our perfected special agreement. If the Guatemalan they could change the special agreement more one time, how many guys well we can't change the special agreement? Don't tell me we can't, man, because we could. We agree.
You have a, Honorable Minister, you have a point of clarification, please.
Madam Speaker, he is misleading the public. The Guatemalans cannot do that. You are misleading this House and the public.
Just 1 minute.
Huh? Oh.
You make... Okay.
The mic down?
Yes.
I just don't explain that everything what the Guatemalans want, they get. Everything when they ask we for, we agree. So that they ain't change it because we just kowtow behind here and agree for change it. So why we can't tell them we want to change it? Why we can't tell them the people that believe want change? Why we can't tell them the House of Representatives want a special agreement change so it could be perfected, so that they could comfortable with it if they go to the ICJ? I won't tell you about no already enough. One of course is that you don't know everything. Madam Speaker, we all want to claim for end, right? Because I've heard this talk and make the claim end, and the claim done. We all want this claim for end. But it cannot come at the expense of Belizean territory. It cannot. If we were to allow that, we would be going against everything the national heroes, George Price and Philip Wilson, taught us. Philip Wilson was very clear in this same house in the maritime era's bill debate to say the people of Belize should not entertain any notion that can see us potentially losing territory. He said that in this house. The Honorable, the Right Honorable George Price fought tooth and nail to make sure that when we went to independence, all our territory was intact. We would be betraying those cherished ideals of those national heroes if we allow something to go wrong. Yes, we want to end the claim, but not at any cost, man. Not at any cost. And be honest with the Belizean people. Because if you go that court, you could lose. It is plain and simple. Don't tell them we cannot lose. That is dishonest. And we need to correct that. Madam Speaker, I can't support this bill. I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. I want with people voting a referendum, you know. But I think we people need more time. That is what I hear from our people. They need more time. The education campaign has been one-sided. We need to try to balance that education campaign. And we need to try to figure out a way to break it down to them some more. The Belizean people, when it comes to the referendum, that should only be held when the Belizean people are good and comfortable with it. Let us stop marching to the orders of the international community. Let us stop marching to the orders of Guatemala and march to the orders of the people of Belize and have the referendum when the people of Belize good and ready to have the referendum. That's why I can't support the bill, Madam Speaker.
Recognize your honourable member from Collett. Please put your mic down, Honourable.
Speaker, I'm reminded of a poem that maybe some of the Belizeans out there who were in school at my time would also remember. It was a poem in the Nelson New West Indian Reader. It was entitled Hypocrite. And it went, Madam Speaker, hypocrite, I shout, pretense is from every word uttered from your mouth. Your mind is guided by trickery and guile. Your thoughts are not of your own style. In front of our face, you're full of chat, but show your true colors behind our back. Madam Speaker, that is what characterizes the opposition. They actually come here, Madam Speaker, trying to convince us that in fact they want the Belizean people to get a chance to vote in the referendum. They want, Madam Speaker, for us to solve this matter. And they come, of course, and they criticize what the government has done in terms of proposing. They forget, Madam Speaker, or maybe they just don't care. As I've said, they're hypocrites. They've said that, in fact, even though they were the ones who signed on to the special agreement, you proposed the special agreement then, I take that correction. It was put together under your leadership when the member for Fort George was the Prime Minister. And in fact, your people played a very crucial role all along. Every step of the way, even up to the point of it being ratified in the Senate. The leader of the opposition, Madam Speaker, comes here today and he says that he is not operating for naked political games only. He's saying, Madam Speaker, that he has the best interests of Belizeans at heart. And I use his words directly, Madam Speaker. I said, I will not sell out principles for political expediency. I think it was our friend Jules Vasquez who pulled back one of the clips that asked him for his position, whether he was going to vote yes or vote no. And in fact, the person who was interviewing him asked him how he will vote. And he actually told the young lady, that's none of your business, which I found absolutely amazing. But in fact, we know that he has been on the record many times saying before all of this that in fact he would vote yes for us to go to the ICJ. The member from Lake Independence, in fact, enlightened, I think, the Honorable House, and in fact, the entire country just now, because he spent about almost an hour, the leader of the opposition, and he danced and danced and danced in numerous ways, but dropped short, Madam Speaker, of telling this Honorable House what his own position was. Hypocrite. Hypocritical. Because if I call him a hypocrite, you might say I'm being unkind, Madam Speaker, and I wouldn't want to be accused of that. But also flip-flopping. And then my friend from Lake Independence will have the gall to try to make a comparison between our very fine leader, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and his leader. That one almost floored me, Madam Speaker. He compared his leader, who clearly has flip-flopped. He gone from, yes, I will support us going to the ICJ. He said he would consult, and when that became the case, he said no. And then now we are seeing him looking as if he's maybe we can go. If you do X, Y, Z, we can go. He does not have the guts, Madam Speaker, to tell the Belizean people that this is the case. That in fact he believes that we should go to the ICJ, absolutely. And then my friend, the member from Lake Independence, also goes around the place. Goes back to the Webster proposals. He goes on, which the PUP brought. And he's comparing this now to that, Madam Speaker. And he said the reason why all of those failed was because we were about to give up something. All of these proposals, he said, was to give up something. Well, I'm asking him, Madam Speaker, like the other Belizeans in this country, what is their proposal if we don't go to the ICJ? What is their proposal? Because you see, we have said to them that this is the only way. And the reason we say that this is the only way, because the only other thing to do, which we've tried to exhaustion, is to negotiate. And in fact, by his own bringing up of these topics, Webster proposals and the years, the decades of negotiations that we've had, Madam Speaker, every one of those, according to him, have been riddled with us trying to give away either land or give up rights, as he puts it. And if the Belizean people, as I am sure is the understanding of everybody, the Belizean people have said, we ain't giving up anything, not a blade of grass is the cry out there, Madam Speaker, nothing, not a square centimeter of land. We've heard all of this. So if our position is that we are not going to negotiate, we're not going to compromise, then why would we need any further negotiation? We have come to the point where it is only the courts that can decide this matter, and there is nothing wrong with going to courts. I condemn my honorable friend from Lake Independence and the leader of the opposition, Madam Speaker, and the entire opposition for trying to create fear in the minds of the Belizean people. They would want you to believe, Madam Speaker, that in fact, when we go to the court, we will lose. And then he uses some false premises, Madam Speaker. I watched as the leader of the opposition and our friend from Lake Independence did this repeatedly. And we must, for the record, set things straight. The Belizean people, of course, know out there, but in this honorable house, when we have them talking about these court battles that recently happened, Madam Speaker, they would have you believe that the UDP lost and the government lost. UDP didn't go to court. It was the government that went to court. And Madam Speaker, on the matter that was taken to the Supreme Court, every Belizean understands they are purposefully trying to distort it. That all the Chief Justice said was that on that one matter, the matter having to do with how the writ for the referendum was issued, under which portion of the Referendum Act the writ was issued, is what he had some questions still about, and that in fact he wanted the opportunity to ventilate a little more and to examine a little closer. He never at all said, Madam Speaker, that the Prime Minister or the Attorney General or anybody, in fact, in the government was wrong. And so when it is that our friends from the other side come and tell you that the government lost in court, it is an absolute lie. They were able to get an injunction, which is the Chief Justice saying, hold on, let's wait, let's examine this thing, and then we will see how we proceed. Then, of course, they carry the lie on to say, Madam Speaker, when they know fully well that the Court of Appeals did not support that ruling at all the court said was that because of our rules, we simply cannot hear this matter at all. It never said, am I correct? Never said that at all. And so, Madam Speaker, we find ourselves in this position. And I, Madam Speaker, want to commend the Prime Minister and the government, especially the Attorney General, who is not in this honorable house, Madam Speaker, for the wonderful and stellar work that they have done in order to ensure that the people of this country will get its say by way of a referendum to determine whether or not we are going to go to the ICJ. But, and I hope that Belizeans caught it. I hope that Belizeans caught it, Madam Speaker, and I hope that you caught it, Madam Speaker. The leader of the opposition is sending the signal, I wouldn't even say subtly, I'd say loud and clear, that in fact, when the bill is passed today, and when it goes to the Senate on Monday, and when the Governor General signs it into law, that it will once again be challenged. They will once again try to deprive the Belizean people from getting a vote via the referendum. I noticed how he was a bit cagey, Madam Speaker. He said, somebody will take it to be challenged. Somebody seems to suggest that they are now a bit gun-shy, Prime Minister, from their attempt. And in fact, they will put somebody in, as my colleague from Mesopotamia says, in John Q. Public, to put the matter to court, to challenge the matter. And then they ask why it is that we are in a rush to do so. Because we know that they will try every opportunity. The leader of the opposition denies it, but we know from private corners that he has said this will be challenged every step of the way because we cannot afford, he talks about the Prime Minister and the UDP hedging on this matter for our own political success. He knows that his goose is cooked as the leader of the People's United Party if this matter ever comes to light, because the United Democratic Party and the Belizean people will have a triumph that will show that the only party that is able to lead us through these very tough waters is the United Democratic Party. This is a fact, Madam Speaker. This is an absolute fact. And I want to share with you just some of the examples that show, because their talk is cheap. They say it's not political theatrics, but it is. So let us look at the record, Madam Speaker. When we were in opposition in the 90s, I wasn't here yet, but it's a very long time ago. I'm sure those members who were here will remember though, and of course history has recorded these things. When we were in opposition in the 90s, the UDP supported the ruling PUP government with the maritime areas up. Not correct, Prime Minister? The decision to put the national interests of the country above party politics, not almost, it in fact caused major problems in the United Democratic Party. Recently we buried the Honorable Derek Aikman, and in fact that was one of the things that came out, that the then member for Freetown had significant difficulty. I remember the Honorable Philip Golson as well had significant difficulty. It drove a wedge through the unity of the United Democratic Party. You remember this? But not once did the leadership of our party then, the Right Honorable Sir Manuel Esquivel, and our party leader now, who was then the deputy leader, I believe, and the deputy prime minister, or it may have been that, no, that was you, right, Prime Minister? All right. Indeed. Not once did they waver, not once did any of them get up and say, you know what, because my party is looking to break up, or because there is some move where everybody is not together, will we flinch from our national responsibility? We stand, even though not all of us are aligned politically correct with this, all of us, the opposition party, will support the government in getting the maritime areas passed. Now, if the Belizean people are looking for a decision based on which political party does try to serve the national interests and not their own, this is a good example to look at. You decide. In 2003 again, Madam Speaker, while again we were in opposition, the PUP approached one of our outstanding local leaders. Some in the gallery might remember him, and some listening may also remember him. This was a man, Madam Speaker, who was a two-time UDP mayor for the Orange Walk Tongue. He was a senator, he was a minister under the United Democratic Party government, you remember? What am I talking about? The Honorable Fred Martinez, who is now deceased, God bless him, Madam Speaker. And I remember when, I think it was when they had run Sal Figueroa out of Guatemala, Prime Minister. Remember, they told him not to return because, of course, he had done something to bring out some Belizean citizens. He's a good man. And so the Guatemalans said, you can't send that ambassador back. You need a new ambassador, and the PUP were scurrying to try to find a replacement. And they approached Fred Martinez. And of course, Fred Martinez was a hardcore stalwart of the United Democratic Party. And so Fred Martinez came to his new, at the time was the new party leader, and said, "Party leader, would you have an objection for me to take up this challenge that the People's United Party is putting on us? It's putting on me to serve as the new ambassador for Guatemala." Imagine a man who was a minister, a man who was a UDP mayor, a man who was a senator. And what did our new leader say? Absolutely, go ahead. National interest before party politics. If the Belizean people are looking for determination on this matter, they can decide with this kind of example. Never once did the Prime Minister say, you know what, that now look too correct. But we see now how they have chastised one of their very own, when in fact the Honorable Prime Minister, and I believe she demonstrated her love for this country long before, as was the case with the other foreign ministers, Godfrey Smith, even the former Prime Minister Said Musa. They said, you know what, it doesn't matter what you say, Mr. PUP, or Mr. Leader of the PUP, we have to vote our conscience on this matter. And in fact, the Honorable Lisa Showman, former foreign minister, former senator in the National Assembly as well, said that she was absolutely going to stand, not with the UDP necessarily, but with the country, the government of this country, because she was standing up for national interest. And as she has put it so many times, to hell with her party if that is not what they want to see. We have seen this, but again, our party leader and our Prime Minister could have said, when it was that Ms. Showman decided, you know what, I want to help in this fight. We could have said, no, Lisa, you're a PUP. We could have said, Madam Speaker, the amount of blows, because Lisa Showman is no joke when she's against you, which is probably why they have so much difficulty accepting this, because she's one of their best guns, especially as it relates to the social media. Chairman, you know this. So when it is now that a lady of this caliber in their ranks of the People's United Party have said, me no want to hear about party politics, we want to make sure that in fact this one goes down for Belize. Our Prime Minister didn't say, we don't want you to come here. He didn't turn away the former Prime Minister from sitting beside him on the national stage to say, we are standing for Belize. He didn't say, since he wants to compare leaders, he didn't say, I don't want my face on the billboard. And Jose Vasquez was a bit unkind to you, Prime Minister. You know, he has this acrobatic series that or a series of portraying leaders to be acrobats. He was unkind to you. He went all the way back and he pulled out that clip that you told the former Prime Minister he would get no quarter.
I just don't know how with my back I could ever be an acrobat.
Yeah, he pulled that clip to say you would give him no quarter. And of course, I believe I can say on your behalf that you would still not give him any quarter on some of the matters that he actually engaged us in and took us down a path in this country. But on the matter of the Belize-Guatemala issue and settling that issue, these two leaders have been united. But I give kudos. I give kudos to both. But I give kudos to our party leader, because this is the kind of leadership that we have in the United Democratic Party and we have in this country. If we fast forward to 2007, People's United Party, once again they were in government, and they began negotiations, as we've heard, for the special agreement. The UDP's representative was right there every step of the way, participating in the negotiation process. We gave it our full support back in 2007. And after the UDP won in 2008, we carried on with the support of the People's United Party representative. You'd think they forget this. They were right there. They were not the government, but they supported the new government in 2008 to continue along with the special agreement. And in fact, you know that the special agreement was not changed. The special agreement remained the same. But the UDP encouraged the opposition party then, the People's United Party, to stay the course along with them. And the decision to ratify the special agreement in the Senate was joint. But you've heard this already. You've heard that our friend Eamon Courtney was a part of the ratification of that special agreement to become a treaty, Madam Speaker, because at that time he was in the Senate. And, Madam Speaker, you will also remember that in the late 90s, the UDP actively participated in a bipartisan commission for the Belize-Guatemalan dispute. From then until this very moment, while in opposition or while in government, the United Democratic Party has never shunned away from being a part of the solution. I listened as one of the members from the other side said just now that in fact the reason why, I think it was the leader of the opposition, the reason why they are different from the United Democratic Party government was that they were respectful of the process. They respected the opposition. And Madam Speaker, we have them. I was waiting to hear what disrespect he was talking about that they experienced in their time. But of course he can't speak to that because the truth is there is none. In fact, it was because they wanted to gain politically, Madam Speaker. You know, up until the point of when all this activity started happening down at the Starstone, up until that point, Madam Speaker, the opposition was being invited, you know. And when they saw that because of the activities of Wilmy here and the other folks down there, that there might be some political gain to be had from this whole situation, that was when you invited them to the meeting, they started to say, no, we don't want no part of that, because they were hoping that the UDP would be doomed to failure in that respect. So when they say, Madam Speaker, that they are not doing this for naked political gain, then that is absolutely not true. And so if it is that we're trying to size up leadership, let's look at that for a minute more. We're trying to size up leadership. Let's look at some of the leaders that have come and how they have addressed these issues having to do with Guatemala over time. The Right Honorable George Price was able to get good support for all that he did. The Right Honorable Manuel Esquivel, when it was time for the Maritime Areas Act, was able to get good support as well from the United Democratic Party for his ambitions. And then when we look at all the other attempts, they were able to get unification. But when it came down to this matter of going to the ICJ, this leader of the opposition has been unable to get full support for his people, from his people. In fact, there is disunity, and I want to dispel immediately, because they were worried. I heard the member from Lake Independence just now say that, in fact, there will not be unity on this side. In fact, he says that while we probably will vote yes, all of us, that in fact there are those of us who deep down inside don't believe that this is the right move to make. That's absolute nonsense. Everybody on this side. And I really can't tell you that there was ever a time that after we looked at the facts and realized that this was in fact the best possible move ever, that we ever said we would not support a yes vote. It is easy to support a yes vote, Madam Speaker, because we know, Madam Speaker, that we have a very good case. And in fact, everybody who tells you no, it's because of the kind of fear-mongering that my friend from Lake Independence demonstrated. But it is not about campaigning for yes or no today, Madam Speaker. It is about trying to ensure that the Belizean people will get their chance to vote in the referendum, that referendum will come, and that we will give people a chance, a yes and a no. Just to look, Madam Speaker, at what they've said about Section 3 of the bill. their concern, as I understand it, would be that if we would have supported this, that if they support it, that in fact they would be giving up powers, they said. Giving up the power to who? This referendum, Madam Speaker, in fact is the ultimate proof, the ultimate way of being democratic. I don't understand for the life of me, they make this argument that coming to the National Assembly, and even if you follow their argument of having, getting a two-third majority to pass such legislation, that is more democratic than taking this to the Belizean people in the form of a referendum where they themselves can decide. I don't understand that at all. But the reason why they want to seek that kind of extraordinary majority, the reason why they would want to seek some kind of legislation that would require that kind of extraordinary majority is because they want to derail the process. They want to shut down the process, Madam Speaker, for their own political benefit. Not because they believe it's the wrong thing to do, but because they want to benefit themselves politically. You remember the position of the leader of the opposition? He came to the Prime Minister first to say, can you stop the referendum and put it off until when? After the general elections. That's what he wanted. You remember? And sometimes I wish we could call their bluff. Because the truth of the matter is, if you would give them that opportunity, you would see that they would vote against Belize. They don't believe in this matter going to the court. And if you don't believe in the matter going to court, then please tell me, God pray tell, why did they sign the special agreement? Because the foundational premise of the special agreement was that we would take this matter to the ICJ. So that, Madam Speaker, has got to be nonsense, and we must look out for the challenge for this bill, as we've heard. One other matter that they mentioned, Madam Speaker, that I would like to touch on, and that is the fact that he's saying that there are, or my friend from Lake Independence lashed out on the foreign entities, Madam Speaker, those governments that have said they really want to see this thing progress. They want it to be put to the people. People have never said they want a thing go yes, you know. But it is true, the international community believes that this is an opportunity for us to take this matter to full conclusion, Madam Speaker. And that is the view of the government and of the United Democratic Party as well. We believe that if we get a yes vote and that this matter goes to the ICJ, that in fact we will be successful and it will bring the matter to a close once and for all. The opposition, in their hope to try to steal thunder, apparently. Now, we won't gloat about it, as we've said repeatedly. When we solve the Guatemala claim, Madam Speaker, all Belizeans win. Now, not the UDP will win, or not the PUP will lose, or either way around. It is all Belizeans that will win. So that is not what this is about. But they will try to now discredit the international community who has said, we believe that this is a good move. And we cannot escape, Madam Speaker. And so I really am sorry that our honorable friend decided to go that route. Because these people, we don't only rely on them for support for our education campaign for going to the ICJ. In fact, these are some of the very same powers that are in the United Nations that we would hope would come to our rescue if Guatemala decides to march the 300,000 soldiers that they have across the border to take over Belize. After his kind of criticism of these powers that in fact are also very powerful in the United Nations, who could blame them if they don't want to come to our rescue? Yet that is what they are relying on. They want the matters of the incursions on the Chiquibull and the raping our forests for chate and panning our gold in the river. They want all of that matter to stop. And I'm not sure how they are intending for this matter to be stopped, if not through the ICJ, if not with the backative of the UN Security Council. Once we get that positive response from the ICJ, have us continue in the manner in which we are going? Having put the strain on our Belize Defense Force and Coast Guard and others, Madam Speaker, it is just not doable. Then they, of course, he says, why can't we go to CARICOM? Well, I'll tell him, Madam Speaker, the CARICOM folks are laughing at our situation here in Belize. Those who aren't laughing are crying because they cannot understand why is it that the People's United Party here in Belize is actually putting their own political interests ahead of the national interest. This could be, Madam Speaker, the case that could be an example for other disputes like this in the rest of the world. Half of the journey is done. Guatemala has said, yes, we will go. It is only now for the Belizean people to say yes. But I join with him in condemning the actions of the Guatemalan president, as he has pointed out. The man is a clown. But for me, it is all the more reason why we should go to the ICJ. I see some people commenting and saying, oh, well, this is the reason why, because the Guatemalan president is teaching children how to draw the map of Guatemala to include Belize. That is the reason why we need to go to the ICJ. If we vote no, or if in fact we don't go to the ICJ at all, if we don't have the referendum where we don't give people a chance, he will continue, presidents after him will continue, presidents after that president will continue. The reason we must get this opportunity is to have the Belizean people decide. And I am hoping, Madam Speaker, that the Belizean people, once given that opportunity, the opportunity, Madam Speaker, that we are going to guarantee for them, I am hoping that they will vote yes, and it will be in the positive. Finally, Madam Speaker, as I wrap up, let me tell you, I don't know what kind of consultation my friend from Lake Independence did. I heard the member for Mesopotamia say to the leader of the opposition that he never gone to Mesopotamia for the consultation. So he didn't poll Mesopotamia at all. I can tell you he never polled Kalet either, unless the only the deputy mayor, who is my challenger, I understand. I beat that like a drum, but that's another story. Unless it was him that he consulted. And I can tell you, my friend from Lake Independence has never gone to the people of Lake Independence and ever asked them what their position was. I can guarantee you. And he talks about the people not being educated enough. Well, if your position is no, you show me where. You held a forum. You came to the government and say, you know what? I want a space. If you're saying you can't afford it, although they get a nice community subvention, Prime Minister, that he could have gone and pay for the new civic center where he criticized so much. Could have asked him a space. That civic center could hold all 3,100 of his voters. Call them and bring them to consult and preach no all you want and come up with a unified position. On the contrary, in the opposition. By the way, I noticed that when my friend from Lake was speaking, Prime Minister, he used a word about the former Prime Minister. He said, contrary. He said that he's the only one contrary on this side. Contrary to the no vote. Everybody know that in the Belizean context, contrary means you've lost your mind. So that was a most unkind thing for him to say. I just pointing that out. And then, of course, the leader of the opposition is attacking our Prime Minister, who clearly has it all put together, and he on his best day can never stand up, not even for a good half an hour, to our Prime Minister. But the people of Kalet, I was saying, have said to me loud and clear in every opportunity given to them, through the consultations, Madam Speaker, and through their interaction in my constituency office, every chance they get, they say to me, let us go to the ICJ, go to that honorable house. In fact, we brought some today, as we see many, many Belizeans out here coming and asking the Prime Minister and this government to ensure, Madam Speaker, that we have a chance, an opportunity. And we are fighting once again for the yes voters to have a chance, and we're fighting for those no voters to have a chance. I have not met any in my constituency, but we are fighting for all of them. And if we are going to judge, whenever the general election come around, I hear the leader of the opposition calling for elections. Well, we know every time he calls for election, they lose. But this time, when we go to the polls and the Belizean people will line up things, they will know that the only political party that is ever truly in the interest of the Belizean people, whether or not we have to sacrifice some of our political gains and benefits, is the United Democratic Party. And Madam Speaker, I proudly this morning support this bill in support of the Belizean people going to that referendum to vote either yes or no. Thank you.
Honourable Member from Freetown.
Thank you very much. Government to table this Belize territorial dispute referendum bill, having only made the bill available to us on this side some 20 hours ago. This is very, very unfortunate, it's unacceptable, and quite frankly disgraceful, because as everyone has said, this is a critically important issue. It's an issue of national importance. So the manner in which the government side, Madam Speaker, has decided to bring forward this bill, no consultation, no input from the opposition or the Belizean people, I believe reflects very poorly on them. The matter, Madam Speaker, of the Belize-Guatemala referendum is a matter of vital importance to all Belizeans. This is not a political matter, it is a national issue. I believe, as many have said this morning already and early afternoon, all of us, I believe, want to see a just, lasting, peaceful resolution to this unfounded claim. And I think those of us who have the honor and privilege of serving in this National Assembly have both a duty and an obligation to work together to advance such a solution. In doing so, we must, Madam Speaker, at all times be guided by the national interest, the people's interest. And bringing forward this bill in this manner at this time is an abdication of that duty and obligation to the national interest. Madam Speaker, it is this lack of respect, lack of consultation, lack of commitment to due process and the rule of law that has us here today in a hastily convened meeting of the House of Representatives with the sole objective, Madam Speaker, let's be very clear about the sole objective of this meeting, of bypassing the Referendum Act, surprise the Belizean people. This, Madam Speaker, has been standard operating procedure. He did, as my honorable friend from Lake Independence pointed out, with BTL. This is what he did when his illegal Petro-Carib spending was challenged. He passed a new law and rallied the troops to keep the petrodollars rolling. And this is what he did most recently, Madam Speaker, when his cruise tax was declared unlawful by the Caribbean Court of Justice. So it's standard practice, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister never pursues common ground, never seeks that. When we were in government and supporting our efforts, treat them as equal partners